What's up, everybody? It's your girl, the Sunflower Child, and you are now tuned in to Talks with Sean. Happy Monday, everybody. I hope today is a great day. Let's get motivated. Let's get inspired. Before we jump right into it, I just want to make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below. Let's get into it. So, as you can see, the topic of today is single, celibate, and 24. Yes, we're talking about myself today. Yes, I am 24. Yes, I'm single. And yes, I am celibate. So, I thought it was very important that I start off with a pilot and I start off with introducing myself and really just inspiring people with my story, and so that we can go on with all different topics and tie into this topic as well. So I've been single for 2 years, and I've been celibate for 2 years. Woo, woo, woo. Yes, honey. And I'm super proud of myself. And I think it was very important that I brought this up, that I brought this topic up and share my story, because a lot of people are afraid to talk about this topic. A lot of people are afraid to be single. A lot of people want to be celibate, but they are afraid that their partner might leave them, or that they won't find someone because they're celibate, because they're waiting. And I thought, bringing my age into it is very important, because at a young age, a lot of people aren't doing what I'm doing. So why not tell my story to inspire other people? So I decided to be celibate after a relationship my last relationship that I was in. It was a very toxic relationship, very stressful, very just pretty much broke me down. And in that moment, in that time, I just had enough. And that's a story that I'm going to bring up later on in the episodes to come. So please make sure that you are subscribing so that you can wait for that video. But I really lost myself. I really was broken after that relationship. And I just had enough. I had enough of being broken. I had enough of crying. I had enough of dealing with people that just didn't deserve me, didn't know my worth. I didn't even know my worth. And so I made a promise to myself, and I made a promise to God, that I was going to work on myself, that I was going to focus on myself, that I wasn't going to date, that I wasn't going to entertain anybody, and I was just going to clearly focus on myself and nothing else. I was going to focus on my dreams. I was going to focus on healing. I was going to focus on loving myself unconditionally. I was focusing on who I was as a person and what I like and what I want in the future. And so it was important that I took this time to be single so that I can be the best me, the best version for myself, number one. For myself, number one, before a future potential boyfriend, a future potential fiance, a future potential husband, because you have to be whole in order to be in a healthy relationship. So, like I said, I promised myself that I was going to be single, I was going to be celibate, and I was going to focus on myself. And let me tell you something. In the beginning, it was very hard, okay? We're going to be honest. This podcast is an honest podcast, okay? I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm going to keep it 100, and I'm going to be very blunt. And I'm going to say, excuse me, because I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm going to tell my story. And honey, it was hard in the beginning, okay? It was hard to be celibate because I was sexually active, yes. And I always wanted to wait. I always wanted to wait till marriage. I didn't want to lose my virginity because I come from a very strict Christian background. My mother's a preacher. My godparents was the pastors of my church. I come from a very faith-based background. And so in my life, in my upbringing, there was no talk about sex. There was no talk about masturbation, oral sex. What does that look like? Being in a relationship, the birds and the bees. Honey, nobody was talking about that. All I knew is that you waited to marriage and that was the end of that. Bada boom, bada bang. So I grew up wanting to wait and not even realizing the reasons of why it would be beneficial for me until I got to this place. And that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to help you guys understand why and the importance of waiting for me. So, unfortunately, I got to high school and I went in a relationship at 18 years old, my senior year. I thought he was the one, the love of my life, and I lost my virginity. And I don't regret it at all. But I wish I would have waited. Because what ended up happening is I ended up dealing with relationships and people that just did not deserve me from the get-go. Did not deserve to know me inside and out and get that close to me. And so when you don't know your worth and when you are not confident in yourself, you tend to fall into the hands of people who are insecure, who are controlling, who can manipulate you, who can tell you things that make you think that they're true. And so that's what happened to me. I was looking for love. I was searching for love in the wrong places because I didn't have my father in my life. I didn't know what a father figure looked like. I didn't know what a mother and father in the household looked like. I never saw that. And so I was always searching to be loved. And I felt like if I gave myself up, if I gave that special piece of me up, that I would replace the love that I wanted from my father, that I would replace the hurt and the pain that I was going through. And in reality, it didn't replace it. It made me even hurt even more. It made me broken even more. Because I was searching for something that I shouldn't have been searching for, which was unconditional love for my father. And so sometimes when a woman or a man who isn't involved with their father or involved with their mother, they tend to sometimes go the wrong way. Not necessarily go the wrong way, but just hang out with people or people that just aren't good for them because they're searching. The thing is, we got to stop searching. We got to stop searching for things. We got to stop searching for love. We got to stop searching for commitment. We got to stop searching for people to make us happy. No, you got to focus on yourself and allow those things to manifest. You got to allow those things to take in place and be natural. See, people want things to just be rushed. People want things to just happen. People want things to be the way they want it to be. But that's not how life works. You allow God to control your life. You do your part and allow God to do the rest. If you trust and believe that He's going to do everything that you asked for and He's already answered prayers before, what makes you think that you can't find love? What makes you think that He won't bring love to you? So it was very important to me that I focused on myself. And in this season of being singleness, and in this season of taking care of myself, I learned a lot about myself. I learned that I was lost. I learned that I didn't love myself. I learned that I didn't even know who I was. I learned that I didn't even know what I liked. I was so broken, so hurt, so much in pain, but I knew that eventually, after I healed from this relationship, after I took this time to just focus on myself and not focus on anything else but me, I knew eventually things would change. I knew eventually that if I did the work and if I did what I wanted to do as far as focusing on myself, that eventually the healing was going to come. But it took time. I've been single for 2 years. Okay, I've been practicing celibacy for 2 years. People want healing right then and there. People want to be 360 right then and there. And you got to do the work. You got to practice. You cannot expect, if you have an attitude problem and you're like, you know what, I'm going to work on it. You can't expect that you're just going to be go jolly ranchy all the time. You have to practice, because what happens is we get into a mode where we're stuck in our ways. We're stuck in doing things. And so we have to break those habits. And so in order to break those habits, you got to do the work. And that's exactly what I did. I did the work. I did the work to make sure that I know who I was and whose I was. I did the work to make sure that I know that I am beautiful inside and out. And the things that I did was I listened to a lot of podcasts, just like you guys are listening to this one. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys for subscribing, liking, sharing. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. I listen to podcasts where I listen to faith-based because I'm a believer. I believe in Christ. I believe in trusting in your faith and believing that if you walk by faith, everything else will come into play. And so it was important for me that I did certain exercises as far as meditating, praying, writing in my journal, writing the things down. Every year, I've been single for 2 years, so every year, the new year, I would write down a list of what I wanted to work on, and I was asking things of God to do in my life, bring healing, bring peace, allow me to grow, allow me to use my pain to turn it into a positive situation so that I can help others, so that I can eventually be the motivational speaker that I can be, so that people can say, man, she went through this and she was broken and she was in pain, but she did the work. She focused on herself. She put God first and she made it out and she healed and she got the necessary things that she needed for herself. And so in this season, I did a lot of podcasts, a lot of positive, and it wasn't necessarily faith-based all the time. It was just like positive energy, positive podcasts about life, about succeeding, about writing down your dreams and your goals. People don't understand the importance and the power of speaking life into you. Speaking things into existence is so important. And so I took the time to do that. Listen to podcasts, meditate, pray, be around positive energy, write down things that I used to like, used to love, and figure out if I still had a passion for those things. Figuring out, okay, this relationship took me a little bit backwards, but how do I get myself to go 10 times forward? How do I get myself to not be stuck in this situation? And I'm going to tell you, it was not easy, and it's still not easy. I have sometimes trouble with dealing with being single. I have sometimes trouble with dealing with being celibate, with dealing with feeling like, man, I'm about to be 25 in November and I'm not in a relationship. Or, man, sometimes I'm going to be honest. Yes, sometimes I do want to have sex. Sometimes I get that urge. But I think about what I've been through, and I think about how far I've come in those moments of not having sex, of focusing on myself, and the amount of growth that I've had, and the amount of pain that I've let go. It is worth waiting. It is worth staying single until I find someone that can honestly, genuinely love me for me, that can love me unconditionally, that can see my flaws and still say, hey, baby, you are beautiful. I want to see you succeed in life. It is important for me that I continue with this journey to get the necessary things that I want in life, to get the necessary things that I prayed for and that I asked God for. See, sometimes sex is a distraction, and for me, the last relationship I was in was a huge distraction for me. It was a huge distraction. I wasn't focusing on school. I wasn't focusing on things that I really wanted to do, as far as doing a podcast, as far as writing poetry, as far as my dreams and goals, and as far as things that I wanted to do, travel. I was so focused on him. I was so focused on wanting to please him and not even realizing that there were so many signs, because I was so vulnerable, because I didn't know myself, because I didn't know my worth. See, when you know your worth and when you know yourself, you're not going to deal with certain things. You're not going to deal with the okie doke. You're not going to deal with Bobby that is living with his mama, and he's not doing anything else but living with his mama and soaking up his mama's electricity. You're not going to deal with that. You're not going to lower your standards, because you know who you are and you know what you bring to the table and you know your worth. And at that time, I did not know my worth. So I allowed any or anybody to treat me anyway because I wanted love so bad. I wanted someone to love me so bad. But in reality, I had somebody to love me who was God. Who created me, who made me the person I am today. I had somebody who loved me, which was me, but I didn't know how to love me. I didn't know how to get to that point. I didn't know how to say, man, I don't want this no more. I'm okay with walking away. So I ended up falling into a relationship, into the hands of a man that was controlling, that mistreated me, that was abusive, that took advantage of me, took advantage of my niceness, took advantage of my genuineness, took advantage of my love that I thought that I was giving to him. And what I realized is he was trying to destroy me, because sometimes other people can see our potential. Other people can see our greatness before we see it. And we got to be careful with that. We got to be careful with the type of energy we bring around ourselves. We got to be careful with who we let in. Because if you can't see your potential, if you cannot see your greatness, people will use that against you. People will try to break you down because they don't want you to succeed. They don't want you to see the greatness and the potential. They want to break you down because they are intimidated by that. They are intimidated by how strong you are, how beautiful you are, how handsome you are. They are intimidated by how you carry yourself, even if you're not as confident. See, a lot of people don't even realize when you are so great and you have so much to give to the world, honey, even when you're insecure, your greatness still comes out. Ooh, I like that. Even when you're insecure, your greatness comes out because it is something within you that is special. That God created you just the way you are. He created you unique. He created you just the way you are, and people don't like that. People don't want people to succeed. And sometimes that's even in a relationship. Somebody that's miserable. Misery loves company. Misery loves company. And when you get in a relationship, you got to realize, and this is what we're going to talk about. I'm so excited for the next topic. We'll get more into how to be single and how to do that. But when you get into a relationship, you want to be with someone who is going to uplift you, who is going to say, hey, babe, you're slacking on your homework. Or, hey, I thought you wanted to do this podcast. Why haven't you started it? You want somebody that's going to uplift you. You can't just keep pouring into people and they don't pour into you. Because what ends up happening is you become dry. Your well is dry. You don't have nothing to give anymore because you done gave and they done took and haven't give you nothing back, haven't uplifted your spirits. And so what ends up happening is you have all this energy that you gave to somebody and you became you became someone that didn't have energy. You became someone that became drained. Because what ends up happening is you give your energy to somebody, and what they do is they pour into you, but they don't pour into positive energy. They don't pour life into you. They pour negative into you. They pour their baggage into you. They pour their insecurities into you. They pour all their issues into you. So you start to transfer your positive energy because you love them so much. You want them to succeed so much. We got to realize when we're in a relationship, it's okay to want somebody, and it's okay to want to pour into somebody. But you got to be able to say, hold on now, I love you, I care for you, but I'm always going to put myself first because I will not lose myself. And so you end up giving all of yourself to that person, not even realizing that they're giving you all of this energy, all this negative energy, and you're wondering why you're sad, why you're depressed, why you are not where you want to be, because you're distracted by somebody who is negative. You're distracted by somebody who is not for you. You are distracted by somebody who can't understand you, who doesn't deserve you. We got to know our worth, ladies. We got to know our worth, ladies and men. We got to know our worth. When you know your worth, you'll do better. You'll attract different people. And that's what I realized in this season of being single. I realized that when I stopped liking certain things about people, characteristic wise, okay, I started wanting to, my end goal was, man, I gotta have somebody that looks good, and he looks all great. That's all great, but what's in the inside? I was dating people that were beautiful on the outside, but were ugly on the outside. That was empty on the, ooh, yes, I was dating people that were empty on the inside and could not give me what I needed, could not help me. And sometimes we end up dealing with people who are broken, and we're broken within ourselves. That's like when you drink out of a glass cup and it breaks and it shatters. You don't pick that up with your hand, because what? It's a mess. You start to bleed. You start to have scars on your hands. And that's what ends up happening when you start to date somebody who is broken and you're broken. You're trying to put the pieces together and you're picking them up and you're breaking yourself. You're putting scars on yourself even more. You already have scars that you're trying to heal from. And what you're doing is adding more scars, adding more pain to you, not even realizing how broken that person is. That's what happens when you don't know your worth, ladies. That's what happens when you don't know your worth, men. We got to look for the signs. And there were so many signs in that relationship, and I didn't realize it because I didn't know my worth, because I wanted love so bad. There were so many signs that I could have prevented. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that relationship, even though it broke. It didn't even break me. It tried to break me. Even though it tried to break me, I still came out strong. Yeah, it took me 2 years to heal, and I'm still healing. I'm still dealing with things, but I'm not that person I used to be. I'm not dealing with somebody who's going to mistreat me and can't see how beautiful I am inside and out. See, we got to love ourselves. We got to love ourselves. When you are in the season of being single, you got to take the time to love yourself unconditionally. We cannot expect anybody else to love us the way we want to be loved if we aren't loving ourselves first. If we are not showing that first, we cannot expect people to make us happy if we are not happy within ourselves, if we can't even make ourselves happy. How do you expect somebody to love you if you don't even know what that looks like? If you don't even know what love looks like to you, what self-love looks like? We got to practice that. I started writing things down on sticky notes. On my mirrors, on my bathroom mirror, and on my dresser mirror. I am beautiful. I am strong. God made me just the way I am. I know my worth. Things like that to encourage me, so that when I woke up in the morning, those are the things that I saw, so that I can instill those things in me, and so that I can practice and recharge myself, fix the things that people tried to play on me and to put on me, that I was ugly, that I wasn't worth it, that I wasn't good enough. I had to change my way of thinking. I had to let go of people's insecurities that they put on me. I had to let those go. I had to dig deep. I had to do the work. See, a lot of people are afraid to be single because they are afraid to be alone, and they feel like they're never going to find anybody. But I'm telling you, it is important to be single. It is important to cherish those moments, because, honey, once you get in a relationship, it's not all about you. You can't just go out. You can't just do the okie doke, wokey woke. You can't. You can't. You're in a relationship. It's about you and that partner. And I believe in a relationship, it should never be 50-50, because 50-50 is half. I don't want to give you half of me. I want to give you all of me. I want to give you 100%. And in order for me to be 100% with you, I have to be whole. And in order for me to be whole, I have to be single in order to focus on myself, in order to practice that, in order to know who I am. I have to focus on myself. In order for me to be in a healthy relationship, I have to focus on myself. And that is what I'm doing. Focusing on myself. It's okay to wait. It's okay to be celibate. It's okay to say, hey, you know what? I just don't think this is going to work out for me. And so what I realized is eventually once I started practicing, knowing my worth and writing things down and listening to podcasts and listening to positive energy, positive music, surrounding myself with positive people, doing the work that I needed to do for myself, I started to really flourish. And that's why I call myself the Sunflower Child. I call myself the Sunflower Child because one, the sunflowers are beautiful. And they're so unique. If you think about a sunflower, sunflowers are the tallest flower. And it's so strong. One day I was walking past a sunflower and it was so windy. And the sunflower was going like this. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And in that moment, I just really heard the voice of God say, a sunflower is a tall flower, is a strong flower, and it may bend. It may go back and forth. It may lose a petal, but it stays strong when that wind hits. And I just thought that was a beautiful thing. So when you get issues or when you get things that try to push you and make you fall and make you crumble, remember that you're a sunflower. Where's all my sunflowers at? My sunflower babies. Remember that you're a sunflower that's growing and blossoming, and you're standing tall, and you're unique, and you're outshining the people that try to break you down. You're outshining the people that tried to hurt you, the people that wanted to see you fall. You're outshining them because no matter what obstacle you face, no matter what comes into play, you're standing strong just like that sunflower. And I just really believe that we got to take that time. We got to take that time to know ourselves. And so in this moment of being single, I took the time to know myself. And I realized for me, sex was a distraction. And that I really wanted to honor my prayer. And I really wanted to honor God. Because in the Bible, it talks about waiting till marriage. It talks about honoring that. It talks about how that is a sacred thing. See, so many people are giving themselves away. So many people are giving their cookie, their sausages, away to people that don't deserve it. See, we don't realize when we have sex with somebody, you become one with somebody. And soul ties are so important. People don't realize the soul ties that they have when they have sex with people. What are soul ties? Soul ties are baggage from people. And what happens is when you become one with someone, you are connected. So their issues, their baggage becomes your baggage. And you're not even realizing it. You start to wonder, why are you so angry? Or why you act a certain way? Or why you change? Because you have brought negative energy into you. Literally into you. We gotta break those soul ties. We gotta know who we're dating and who we're having sex with and who we're surrounding ourselves with and what type of baggage they bring. Because their baggage can be so heavy that it overpowers you. And you're already dealing with your own baggage. And so for me, it was important that I stuck with being celibate. And honey, it is hard sometimes. It is hard sometimes because let's be honest, sex feels good. Let's be honest. It's supposed to pleasure us. And so coming from having sex all the time to stopping, it was very hard. But I knew that it was a distraction for me. I knew that I wanted somebody to love me unconditionally. I knew that I wanted somebody to take the time to really know who I was. I want to be with somebody that loves me unconditionally. Somebody that is attracted to who I am inside. Spiritually, mentally. I want to be spiritually and mentally, emotionally connected with that person before we have sex. Before I give that person all of me. Because when you have sex with someone, you give them all of you. And so it's important for me to stay celibate and to focus in the ways I stay celibate and the way I stay strong is praying, listening to gospel music, sometimes calling my best friends like, yo, I'm weak. I'm weak. I need you to give me some motivation. You know I want to wait. You know I want to do this. And so I have great friends. Shout out to my best friend. Shout out to my friends that support me and say, no, you made a promise to yourself and you made a promise to God. And you're going to honor that. And we're going to help you. And so those are some of the things that I do to keep myself grounded and to keep myself not as weak. I make sure that I'm not around certain things or certain activities. Or I make sure that I limit certain music because that influences you as well. You know, you got to be careful. You got to be careful with who you're interacting with and who you're talking to and who you're dating with. Because, you know, you can date somebody or start to talk to somebody and they want to tempt you. And I've had situations where I've started to interact with people or, you know, go on a couple of dates and see if I'm ready. And, you know, sometimes I'm like, man, should I tell him I'm celibate? Like, you know, you feel like, man, if I tell him I'm celibate, you know, he's not going to want me. He's not going to, you know, want to be with me. He's going to cheat on me. And so what I realized, honey, the one for you is going to wait. He's going to love you. She's going to love you. They're going to honor you. They're going to honor and respect that you're waiting, that you want to wait, that you really want to get to know them on a deeper level. On a deeper level, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Sex is the icing on top of the cake. Period. It is the icing on top of the cake. And so for me, when I was going on dates, when I was, you know, feeling like, okay, I'm ready to talk or to people, I realized that these people just didn't understand me and weren't on the same background as me, didn't understand me, didn't respect it, and I was lowering my standards. You know, for me, I want somebody who is God-fearing, someone who believes in the same beliefs as me, because I feel like it's easier, and that's something that I always wanted. See, the Bible says you have to be equally yoked, and what that means is you have to be connected spiritually, you have to be spiritually connected, mentally, emotionally connected. You have to be one. And when you're unbalanced or when your partner is unbalanced, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes they don't understand certain things. They don't understand why you do certain things, or why you want to pray, or why you want to wait, or why you want to go to church, or things like that. So it was important for me to find somebody on the same level as me. Not necessarily about status, not necessarily about money, but spiritually. I needed to find somebody who was on that level. And I'm still I'm not looking, because I'm waiting for, I believe that God is going to provide. I'm doing my part. I'm focusing. See, the thing is, we got to do our part. If you have done everything, if you have done your part and you asked God for something and he answered it, right? Sometimes he don't answer it right away. He answered it when he thinks you're ready. And thank God he does. I thank God it's his timing and not our timing. Because sometimes our timing is just not right. It is not right. And we would just be all over the place. We'd be a hot mess. So his timing is everything. Remember that. Don't rush. Don't feel like, man, I'm not in a relationship right now. What's wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. He is preparing you. See, before you get a blessing, before you receive something that you ask for, he always prepares you before he gives it to you. Because he wants to see, are you ready? Are you going to cherish? Are you going to honor the prayer that I've answered for you? Are you really going to cherish that? Are you going to be able to handle the blessing that I'm going to give you? So we have to understand preparation before anything. Before any blessing you get, preparation is always comes to play. Please think about some things that you asked for and think about what you had to do before. You had to prepare. And that's in a relationship. You have to prepare. You have to prepare yourself. You have to prepare yourself to be a wife. You have to prepare yourself to be a great girlfriend. You have to prepare yourself to be a great friend, a great mother. You have to prepare yourself. So, in this season of my life, it is very important that I prepare myself. And not that I'm like saying, oh, I'm preparing myself for my man. I'm preparing myself just in general. I'm preparing myself for the blessings that I know God is going to give me. I'm preparing myself for everything that I've asked for. I'm focusing on myself, and that is preparation. And so being celibate has been one of the most beautiful things, beautiful situations I've put myself into. And you might say, well, why would you want to not have sex? Because it was a distraction. And I always wanted to wait. I always felt like, man, like I was having sex with people that just weren't for me. And I feel like as I'm getting older, I'm realizing what I want and what I don't want in a man, like in a relationship. I'm realizing like, no, like I've been on a couple of dates and I've been, dealing with certain people, and I'm just like, yeah, this is not gonna work. I know this is not for me. Because once you really know who you are, you know what you like. It's something in you that changes, where you're just like, yeah, no, this is not it. You're a great person. We have a lot of things in common. You have a lot of great characteristics, but there's something missing. And when you feel like there's something missing, you gotta listen to yourself. You gotta listen to your intuition, because your intuition is always right. Most of the time, it's always right. And so sometimes, I get discouraged. Sometimes I have gotten discouraged. Like, man, this person was great. This person was amazing. Excuse me, guys. This person was amazing. This person was great. But I just don't understand why it didn't work. Because he's not for me. Sometimes we have to kiss a lot of frogs. Ladies and men, sometimes we have to kiss a lot of frogs in order to get our king, in order to get our queen. Sometimes we got to deal with certain situations to prepare ourselves. Sometimes we got to learn certain things. Sometimes we got to meet certain people and date certain people, so we realize, that wasn't for me. Or, man, this is what I'm going to do different in a relationship. Or, man, this is not necessarily what I want. I don't want to date somebody that has kids. Or I don't want to date somebody that is not in the criteria of et cetera, et cetera. And we got to realize that we have to know what it is that we want. And sometimes it's not that our standards are high, but sometimes we just want everything to be perfect. And that's not how life works. You're not going to find a Mr. Perfect. You're not going to find a Mr. Perfect woman. That's not life. Nobody is perfect. Nobody in this world is perfect. We all make mistakes. We all have pain. We all have demons that we face every day and try to get over the obstacles. We got to realize that sometimes you got to compromise. Not lower your standards, compromise. Lowering your standards and compromising is different. Okay? And the difference between those two is compromising is finding somebody that may not have all the characteristics or may not have a certain degree or may not look the way we want them to look, right? But their inside is pure and they treat us well. And sometimes we have to compromise